Let's take a dive into the 2018 Genoa Bridge collapse. On August the 14th, 2018, at approximately 11:36 a.m. local time, a portion of the Ponte Morandi, or also referred to as the Morandi Bridge in English, in Genoa, Liguria, Italy, gave way during a heavy rainstorm, resulting in the deaths of 43 people. The remaining sections of the bridge were demolished in June 2019, and the new structure, the Genoa-Saint George Bridge, was opened a year later to replace it. During a heavy rainstorm on that fateful day, a 210-meter or 690-foot section of the Ponte Morandi collapsed. The span that fell was centered on Pillar 9, the westernmost cable stayed support, and stretched across the Polcevera River and an industrial zone in Sampierdarena. Witnesses recorded seeing lightning strike the bridge just before it gave way. It is believed that between 30 to 35 vehicles, including 3 trucks, plunged from the bridge. Much of the wreckage, along with the vehicles on the bridge, landed in the swollen Polcevera River, while other debris fell onto railway tracks connecting Turin and Milan to Genoa, as well as warehouses owned by Ansaldo Energia, an Italian power engineering firm. These warehouses were largely empty, as the collapse occurred on the eve of Ferragosto, a major Italian public holiday. Initial theories pointed to either a structural failure or a landslide as potential causes for the collapse. At the time, the bridge was undergoing maintenance work, which included strengthening its foundations. Reports indicated that the southern stays of the bridge gave way suddenly due to corrosion and damage. Since the bridge had only 4 stays, the failure of even one could have been enough to destabilize the whole structure. A preliminary investigation suggested that the pillar may have collapsed first, though Genoese prosecutors had not provided investigators with a local video that indicated the southern stays failed first. There was also speculation that lightning might have struck the stays, or that a landslide may have indeed undermined the base of the bridge. In July 2019, footage of the bridge's collapse was released, taken from cameras at a nearby company, Ferrometal. The video showed both the southern stays and the road sections collapsed to Pillar 9, giving way almost simultaneously. The top cross beam moved as the tension cables of the southern eastern stay appeared to fail. Shortly afterward, the entire section of the roadway and the pillar itself collapsed. Despite this evidence, Autostrade, the company responsible for maintaining the bridge, argued that the video did not capture all parts of the structure and therefore could not definitively explain the collapse. At the time, the bridge was managed by Atlantia SPA, formerly Autostrade SPA, a toll motorway and airport operator controlled by the Benetton family. The company waited 2 days before issuing a public statement expressing condolences to the families and victims. The disaster sparked a significant political debate regarding the deteriorating state of Italy's infrastructures and raised concerns about the safety of bridges throughout Europe. According to Corriere della Sera, this is the 11th bridge collapse in Italy since 2013. Ultimately, it was decided not to repair the bridge, but to completely demolish it. Demolition began in February 2019 and was completed by June 28th of the same year. A total of 43 people were confirmed dead, with 16 others injured. Among the deceased were 29 Italians, 4 French nationals, 3 Chileans, 2 Albanians, 1 person from each Colombia, Jamaica, Moldova, Peru, and Romania. Several survivors were rushed to nearby hospitals, many of them in critical condition. David Capello, a former Cagliari goalkeeper, remarkably survived unscathed, walking away from his car, despite it plummeting 30 meters or 100 feet before becoming wedged in the wreckage of the collapsed bridge. Authorities evacuated the area beneath the remaining sections of the bridge, including several homes. By 2 a.m. the following day, 12 people were still unaccounted for, and voices could be heard coming from beneath the rubble. Rescue operations continued throughout the night under floodlights, using techniques commonly seen in earthquake evacuation and rescue responses. 4 days later, the death toll had risen to 43. As a result of the collapse, the rail lines connecting Genoa-Sampierdarena, Genoa-Piazza Principe, Genoa-Borzoli, and Genoa-Riveroli were immediately shut down. A bus service was set up to replace the train routes between these stations. The day after the disaster, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte declared a 1-year state of emergency in the Liguria region. Eduardo Rixi, the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure, announced that the entire bridge would have to be demolished. In response to the tragedy, the Italian Football Federation held a minute of silence for the victims before all football events across the country the following weekend. Additionally, the opening matches of the 2018 to 2019 Serie A season for the Genoese clubs Genoa and Sampdoria, originally scheduled for the 19th of August, were postponed. Danilo Toninelli, Italy's transport minister, who had taken office on the 1st of June 2018, called the incident an immense tragedy. However, his political party, the Five Star Movement, had previously dismissed concerns about the bridge's stability in 2012, calling the idea of a collapse a silly fairy tale, based on a 2009 assessment by Autostrade that claimed the bridge could last another 100 years. Governor Giovanni Totti referred to the loss of the bridge as a disaster of massive scale, affecting a vital artery not only for Genoa, but for the entire country. The catastrophe caused Atlantia, the road operator's parent company, to see a 5% drop in its stock value the same day, and a 25% drop 2 days later. A state funeral was held on the 18th of August at the Fiera di Genova event arena for 18 of the victims, with tributes to the firefighters and rescue workers. Some families, however, opted for private ceremonies instead. The funeral was attended by Italian leaders including President Sergio Mattarella, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte, Interior Minister Matteo Salvini, Transport Minister Danilo Toninelli, and Democratic Party Secretary Maurizio Martina. In mid-2020, the Italian government regained control of the infrastructure company after the legislatures passed reforms to reduce penalties associated with changes in ownership. In 2021, the footbridge adjacent to the former Morandi Bridge, once called Ponte del Rattatelli, was renamed Passerella 14th Agosto 2018 in honor of the collapse victims. Criminal charges, including manslaughter, were brought against 59 individuals, many of whom were employees of Autostrade per l'Italia. Giovanni Castellucci, the CEO of the company at the time, was one of the most prominent defendants. The trial's preliminary hearing took place in July 2022. The collapse sparked concerns about the state of Europe's infrastructure, with studies in Italy, France, and Germany highlighting that many bridges were indeed in urgent need of repair or replacement due to corrosion and structural decay. Infrastructure investment in Italia had sharply declined after the 2008 financial crisis. The ruling coalition put pressure on Autostrade per l'Italia, part of the Atlantia Group. Deputy Prime Minister Luigi Di Maio insisted that they were definitely to blame, while Interior Minister Matteo Salvini pointed to the EU's strict budgetary rules on deficits and state debt, although the European Commission refuted this argument. The Benetton family, which owned 30% of Atlantia, also faced scrutiny. Giovanni Castellucci, Autostrade's CEO, promised that the bridge would be rebuilt within 8 months. On August the 28th, the final two cable-stayed pillars 10 and 11 of the bridge were demolished using explosives, along with several nearby homes. Plans to remove the entire bridge then went on the way. Construction of the replacement, the Genoa-Saint George Bridge, designed by renowned Genoese architect Renzo Piano, began on the 25th of June 2019. The new bridge was completed by spring 2020 and officially inaugurated in August 2020. That was it for today's video, and as per usual, thanks for watching.